6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is a news edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. The President will attend the 10th World Water Forum high-level meeting in Indonesia from tomorrow. The government mobilizes special delegation to ensure welfare of Sri Lankans embroiled in Russian-Ukraine conflict. The Prime Minister calls for increasing economic and religious ties with Myanmar. Advanced level classes for this year's ordinary level students to begin on June 4th. Central Environmental Authority requests all citizens to refrain from using polythene plastic for Vesak decorations. News overseas, according to medical sources, Slovakian Prime Minister is in stable status yet serious condition after shooting. In sports, women's cricket schedule announced for West Indies Women's Tour of Sri Lanka 2024. And those are the headlines. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has confirmed his participation in the 10th World Water Forum high-level meeting to be held from tomorrow to the 20th of this month in Bali, Indonesia. This significant gathering themed Water for Shared Prosperity will convene global leaders to address pressing issues related to water management and sustainability. President Wickremesinghe will leave for Indonesia tomorrow following an invitation from Indonesian President Joko Widodo, underscoring Sri Lanka's commitment to international cooperation on water-related challenges. Scheduled to deliver a keynote address on the 20th of this month, President Wickremesinghe will articulate Sri Lanka's perspective on achieving equitable access to water resources for all. State Minister for Foreign Affairs Tharaka Balasuri announced that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has issued directives for the dispatch of a specialized delegation to Russia to investigate the welfare of Sri Lankans amidst the ongoing Russian-Ukraine war. According to the State Minister, this delegation will include the Secretary to the Ministry of Defense, a former ambassador to Russia, and officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with plans for prompt departure to Russia. State Minister Balasuri made this comment during a press briefing titled Collective Path to Stable Country held at the Presidential Media Centre yesterday. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says there is a huge potential for further increasing trade, economic and Buddhist ties between Myanmar and Sri Lanka. He said this when Myanmar Charge d'Affaires Lei Ye Win called on him at Temple Trees yesterday. The Prime Minister said that the economic and trade relations in many areas such as gem and jewellery, tea and coconut trade, minerals, tourism with a special emphasis on Buddhist tourism could be strengthened. He also suggested barter trade on tea and coconut as Myanmar is keen to export coconut to Sri Lanka for processing and re-exporting to third countries. Acting Ambassador Lee Ye Win said Sri Lanka could participate in Yangon Trade Fair to explore potential areas of imports and exports and economic collaboration. The Ministry of Education says GCE advanced level classes for the students who sat for GCE ordinary level examination this year will commence on the 4th of June. The circular in this regard has been issued by the Education Ministry to education authorities of all provinces. A media release issued by the ministry further says that school principals who have not yet received the circular can inquire about it from the respective provincial and zonal education officers, while students can obtain more information from the principals of their respective schools. The Central Environmental Authority requests all citizens to refrain from using polythene and plastic to make Vesak decorations, including lanterns, pandols, banners and posters, considering that they will be badly affect the environment, rivers, lakes and other waterways. A recent CEA survey has revealed over 7 million tons of non-biodegradable polythene and plastic comes through rivers, waterways and streams and ultimately flows to the ocean. CEA Chairman Benura Fernando said, "It is the sole responsibility of people not to use non-biodegradable polythene and plastic for decorations in the forthcoming Vesak season. And that's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The government has decided to draft a patient safety rights charter to ensure the safety of hospitalized patients. Health and Industries Minister Dr. Ramesh Pathiran says that as per the reports from many countries in the world, 1 out of 7 patients who are hospitalized face issues in the hospital, and it is a global situation. The minister stated this in the discussion held with the hospital staff recently after participating in a special inspection tour to find out about the current condition of the Gampa Base Hospital. The minister also said that he decided to prepare this charter considering the problems faced by the patients during hospitalization. And that came to you in top news.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, consultant community physician Dr. Shereen Balasingham of Health Ministry's Directorate of Non-Communicable Disease says the number of patients with high blood pressure reported in Sri Lanka has increased. She revealed that following a survey carried out covering all districts in the island on the adult population between the ages of 18 to 69 years, it was reported that 35% of them are suffering from hypertension. She further stated that several programs are being held globally each year on May 17th to raise awareness on high blood pressure and on the 3rd week of May regarding salt intake. And that was Watchlight. And moving on to world news. Headlines: suspect charged with attempted murder of Slovak Prime Minister. Israeli tank fire kills 5 soldiers in North Gaza. Algerian man found alive in cellar after 26 years. And those are the headlines. A man has been charged with the attempted murder of Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico after the politician was seriously hurt in a shooting attack. The alleged assailant has been formally named, but Slovak reports have widely identified him as a 71-year-old from the town of Lviv. Reports say he could face up to life in prison. Mr. Fico, 59, is in a serious but stable condition after being shot several times in what colleagues described as a politically motivated attack. Israel's military says 5 soldiers have been killed by Israeli tank fire in northern Gaza in one of the deadliest incidents of its kind since the war against Hamas began in October. An initial probe found that 2 tanks fired at a building in Jabalia refugee camp where the troops had gathered. Troops went back into the area this week after previously pulling out, saying Hamas had regrouped there and tens of thousands of Palestinians have fled the fighting and bombardment. A man has been found alive in the neighbor's cellar after going missing about 26 years ago. Omar bin Omran disappeared from Jalfa in Algeria during the Algerian Civil War in 1990s when he was in his late teens. Now aged 45, Mr. bin Omran has been discovered just 200 meters from where he grew up. Officials confirmed they had arrested a 61-year-old man suspected of keeping him as a prisoner. And that's world news. Development news. Port City Colombo, a visionary multi-service special economic zone poised to transform Sri Lanka into the next global investment destination, provides the opportunities to a diversity of companies to upscale their businesses within the property development and key trust sectors, whilst being supported by strong investor mechanisms. With the aim of becoming a world-class hub for corporate relations and the engine of Sri Lanka's future economic development, Port City Colombo will empower large-scale business growth within the South Asian region through a reliable and competitive regulatory environment that enhances the ease of doing business.
Moving on with sports news.
The West Indies national women's cricket team will arrive in Sri Lanka during the month of June for a white ball tour consisting of a 3-match ODI and a 3-match T20 series. The team will play the 3-match ODI series against Sri Lanka women's cricket team from 15 to 21st June at Galle International Cricket Stadium, and 3-match T20 series between the sides will be played from 24th to 28th June at Mahinda Rajapaksa International Cricket Stadium in Hambantota.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The U.S. Embassy in Colombo is set to host a satellite event of the Indo-Pacific Business Forum under the theme Driving Sustainable Development in the Port Sector on May 21st. The event will take place concurrently with the 6th Indo-Pacific Business Forum in Manila, Philippines, co-hosted by the U.S. Trade Development Agency and the Government of Philippines in partnership with the U.S. Department of State. And that came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, a prominent delegation of 30 members of the China National Garment Association visited Sri Lanka recently to explore fresh avenues of collaboration and investment in the Sri Lankan apparel industry. The CNGA delegation, led by the Executive Vice President of Xi Jinping and Ningbo Garment Association Vice President and Secretary General M.A.O. Yihua, met the chairman of the Sri Lanka's Export Development Board, Executive Director of the Board of Investment, and members of the Joint Apparel Association Forum Sri Lanka last week. And that's economic news. Weather report. The Met Department says showery and windy conditions are expected to enhance due to pre-monsoon conditions over the country and surrounding sea areas. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, sub-Brahma, eastern, northern and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere of the island after 12 noon today. Heavy showers, about 100 millimeters, are likely at some places in the western, sub-Brahma, central, eastern and Uva provinces. And that was the weather report. To wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points once again. The President will attend the 10th World Water Forum high-level meeting in Indonesia from tomorrow. The government mobilizes special delegation to ensure welfare of Sri Lankans embroiled in Russian-Ukraine conflict. The Prime Minister calls for increasing economic and religious ties with Myanmar. Advanced level classes for this year's ordinary level students to begin on June 4th. Central Environmental Authority requests all citizens to refrain from using polythene plastic for Vesak decorations. News overseas, according to medical sources, Slovakia Prime Minister is in stable yet serious condition after shooting. In sports, women's cricket shall announce for West Indies Women's Tour of Sri Lanka 2024. With that, we conclude this morning news podcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.